Now, while I don't agree that a Kineticist is a super complicated class to play, I will say that their character creation is a little bit more involved than maybe some other classes. There are a lot of things to keep track of. There are so many different options, but that's what makes the class fun. One of the biggest things that I've seen a lot of questions on various forums and Reddit and Discords is gate junctions and exactly how those work. So let's talk about that today. My name is Don. I'm trying to be the Sly Strategist, and let's go ahead and get into it. So what is a gate junction? Well, a gate junction is part of your class progression. Gate junctions occur at 5th, ninth, 13th, and 17th level, so basically 5th and every 4 levels thereafter when you hit a gate threshold. And you are presented with a choice. You can expand the portal to one of the elements you already possess, or you can fork the path to get a new element. If you choose to expand the portal on one of your current elements, you gain another impulse feat from that element, or if you already have another element, you would basically get a composite impulse. Maybe you were already dual gate or triple gated, or maybe if you were 17th level, you had a whole bunch of different elements. But either one that you choose, be it another impulse from that element or a composite element, you get a better understanding or attunement to one of your elements, and you get to choose a gate junction, which provides a specialized kinetic technique that can help with damage, tactics, resistance, skills, any number of things. Now, this is different from the impulse junction you might have received at character creation if you chose to be a single gate kineticist. However, you can select an impulse junction as a gate junction. In that way, you can kind of think of an impulse junction as a subset of a gate junction that is available to you at level 1. So now that we know what a gate junction is, let's talk a little bit about what you get with a gate junction. So when you gain a gate junction, you are basically developing a specialized kinetic technique, and you're given a choice of benefits from the gate junction table for one of your kinetic elements. And let's kind of go over what those are in general before we get into the specifics with each one of the elements. The first is a critical blast junction, and a critical blast junction happens when you get a critical success with an elemental blast of the kinetic element that you are currently using. The next one would be an elemental resistance, and this elemental resistance grants you resistance to damage while your kinetic aura is active. Now, the level of resistance is equal to your level, and it applies to damage of any listed type, or it could be coming in from a creature or an effect that has an element as a listed trait. Now, at 17th level, you gain immunity to effects with any of those listed traits. Now, one thing it does say is it doesn't make you immune to creatures with such a trait. In other words, you can't, if you have a fire elemental, if they hit you, you're not going to get fire damage, but you're still going to get damage. And the other thing is you can voluntarily forego this resistance, immunity, or both if you want an effect to work on you. And then kind of as we mentioned a little bit earlier, you can choose an impulse junction, those things that you could select at level 1 as one of the gate junctions for the element. An aura junction adds an effect of some sort to your kinetic aura when you channel elements. And when they say when you channel elements, they're talking about meaning your aura is active. And the last of these is going to be a skill junction. And a skill junction will make you train in the listed skill and grants you the listed skill feat. Now, if you are already trained in that particular skill, maybe from a background, you instead become trained in a skill of your choice. While your kinetic aura is active, you gain a +1 status bonus to the listed skill. The bonus will increase to +2 at level 10 and +3 at level 17. And one of the things to notice is that when we get into these specific skill and skill feats, they are from the backgrounds introduced in the Rage of Elements, so you can get those particular skills and skill feats in other ways than just picking the background. Now, you can select each gate junction only once, and basically what they're saying is you wouldn't do an air gate critical blast twice and hope that you could double the damage. But you can have the same type of junction for multiple elements. And using that as an example, you can have an air gate junction critical blast and an earth gate junction critical blast. And you get to choose to not use a gate junction when it would normally occur. And a good example might be a resistance when the elemental power might be beneficial to you, or you would like it to go through for some reason. But this applies to all junction types. If you have multiple junctions that would apply at the same time, and the example from the book is a kinetic aura junction for different elements, you can apply basically whatever one that you would like to. However, you can only use one impulse junction per round. So kind of think of it like a reaction in that sense. In other words, you can't just pop up different ores when different attack comes in. You basically have to select one for a round. So let's cover for a little bit when you get gate junctions. So you get gate junctions when you reach the gate's threshold, and that starts at level 5. So a gate's threshold means that you reach a new milestone in your Odyssey to become in tune with your kinetic gate and must decide how to expand your power. So at 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, and 17th level, meaning 5th level in every 4 levels, you can choose to do one of two things. You can expand your portal, or you can fork the path. Now, forking the path means choosing another element, and expanding the portal means that you are attuning your gate more precisely to one of your elements. One of the things they talk about when you're picking your feats is if you have no valid options for that feat, typically because you have one kinetic element and you devoted your class feats to gaining that element's impulses and you've kind of run out of the ones that you can choose, you can instead select any Kineticist class feat of your level or lower for which you meet the prerequisites. So here you could choose a general class feat, but you couldn't choose, let's say, a fire impulse feat if you were an air impulse kineticist. But by attuning yourself more precisely to one of your elements, you will get a gate junction. So let's talk a little bit more precisely about what you can get for the various gate junctions. Now for air gate junctions, for critical blast, you can push the target up to 10 feet. For elemental resistance, you can get resistance to air or electricity. For an aura junction, you and any ally that starts its turn in the aura gets a plus 10-foot status bonus to land speed until the end of that turn and to fly speed if applicable. So if they had the fly trait, then they could use the plus 10-foot status. And this is kind of a good movement positioning aura junction. For the skill junction, you can get stealth and experienced smuggler. Now let's move on to earth gate junctions. So for critical blast, if the target is on the ground, it's knocked prone. If it isn't on the ground, it descends up to 20 feet and you get to choose the distance that it would descend. If you were to choose elemental resistance, it could be earth or poison. An aura junction is squares in the aura are difficult terrain for your enemies, but only if moving into the square would make the enemy further away from you. And for the skill junction, you can choose athletics and hefty hauler. Now let's move on to the fire gate junctions. For critical blast, the target takes 1d6 persistent fire damage. You gain an item bonus to this persistent damage equal to your item bonus to impulse attack rolls, such as from a gate attenuator. So in this particular case, if you have that gate attenuator, you could do the +1 or +2, depending on the level of the gate attenuator. For elemental resistance, you can do cold or fire. Aura junction, enemies in your kinetic aura gain weaknesses to fire from your fire impulses. This weakness is equal to half your level with a minimum weakness level of 1. So if you had a creature that was immune to fire, well, you can make them not immune to fire equal to half your level. And for skill junction, you get intimidation and intimidating glare. For metal gate junctions, the critical blast is a target takes 1d6 persistent bleed damage. If the creature has the metal trait or is made of metal, it instead takes 1d6 persistent damage with no type from rust. So that's kind of cool that they kind of made it so that you can rust another creature. You gain an item bonus to this persistent damage equal to your item bonus to impulse attack rolls, once again from a gate attenuator. For elemental resistance, you can get electricity or metal. For the aura junction, the enemies in the aura take a -1 status penalty to attacks with metal objects, and they take a -1 status penalty to AC if they're wearing metal armor, have the metal trait, or are made of metal. So this will make basically all the people in your party a little bit better if they're using metal weapons. And if they are using metal armor, then they're worse AC to everybody in the party. For the skill junction, you would get crafting and quick repair. And then for the water gate junctions, for critical blast, the blast deals 2 splash damage per damage die of the blast with the same damage type. For elemental resistance, you can do fire or water. For the aura junction, the aura becomes saturated with humidity and water moves as you please. Non-magical fires in the area are extinguished and creatures in the aura gain fire resistance equal to half your level. Now this is all creatures, not just your party. And skill junction, athletics, and underwater marauder. And the last one would be the wood gate junctions. For critical blast, if the target of the critical hit is adjacent to a surface, roots entangle it. The target is immobilized and must spend an interact action to attempt a DC 10 athletics check to pull itself free. If the target is incorporeal, like a ghost, is liquid, or could otherwise escape without effort, it doesn't become stuck. The elemental resistances you can choose are poison or wood. The aura junction is life-giving blossoms spring up around you. Any ally that begins its turn in the aura gains 1 temporary hit point that lasts until the start of its next turn. And this increases to 2 temporary hit points if you're 10th level or higher, and 3 temporary hit points if you're 15th level or higher. And then for the skill junction, it's survival and terrain expertise for forest. Now, I hope this kind of cleared up gate junctions a little bit and kind of gave you an idea on where they place in the character creation and the character leveling format, and make it a little bit easier to keep track of everything. Once again, I don't actually think that kineticists are necessarily harder to play or more complicated to play, but I will say that they have a lot to keep track of when you are trying to create or level up your character. But I do hope you like this video, and if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, or hit that notification bell. But whatever you do, I hope you have a great day and happy adventuring. Thanks.